In the heart of Marlowe City, a blind woman was about to turn the tables on a criminal syndicate that thought she was an easy mark. For years, the Gallo Syndicate had ruled the streets with brutal intimidation, targeting anyone who dared to resist. When their men began harassing this seemingly vulnerable woman, they didn't realize they had crossed a line they would soon regret. What the syndicate didn't know was that beneath her quiet exterior lay a legacy few could imagine, one forged in decades of tactical brilliance, covert operations, and survival against impossible odds. When she finally spoke a name long thought dead, everything changed. What started as a simple act of cruelty ignited a calculated, unstoppable reckoning, a battle of wits, skill, and raw determination that would shake the very foundations of the city forever. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories reach. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss tomorrow's special video. I guarantee you won't want to miss it. Now let's jump in. In the heart of Marlowe City, there are streets where the law walks carefully, where the mafia's grip is so tight, even whispers dare not escape the dark corners. The Gallo Syndicate reigns here, ruthless, methodical, and utterly confident in their untouchable power. Tonight, a new name enters their radar. Elena Sarto, a blind woman, seemingly harmless, who's been quietly running a small bookstore on Delaney Street. She's not the kind of person they usually bother with, but Elena has something they want, a ledger, one that could expose years of Gallo's offshore laundering and their most protected assets. The problem? She refuses to hand it over. 3 of Gallo's enforcers stand in her shop now, between dusty shelves and the faint scent of old paper. Their approach is crude, confident, the way men act when they think their prey can't fight back. She's just a blind lady. One of them smirks, tapping his brass knuckles against a wooden table. We don't need to be polite. The leader, Vico, leans closer to her across the counter. You'll give us the ledger, or we'll burn this place down with you in it. Elena's face is unreadable behind her dark glasses. Her hands, folded neatly over one another, don't tremble. I'm giving you a chance to walk away, she says softly, her voice steady. Vico chuckles. Lady, you got no cards to play. You don't even know who you're talking to. There's a long silence before Elena speaks again. One name. Just one. Dante Sarto. The room freezes. Vico's grin falters. The other 2 enforcers exchange nervous glances. That name is not supposed to exist anymore. Dante Sarto, a ghost, a phantom from the city's bloodiest days. The man who dismantled cartels and syndicates with precision strikes. CIA black operations. Delta Force training. Tactical legend. Officially declared dead 12 years ago. The men recover quickly, brushing it off. She's bluffing. He's dead. But unease creeps in. They leave, more cautious now. They plan to return with more men. What they don't know, what no one knows, is that Dante Sarto isn't dead. He simply disappeared, leaving the life of violence behind. Until now, miles away, in a quiet lakeside cabin, a phone rings. An old number, one he hoped would never call again. Dante picks up. Elena, he says, his voice a low, controlled growl. They came, she answers. I told them your name. Silence. Then, with a calm, almost surgical finality, Dante replies. Send me their names. I'll handle it. He sets the phone down and walks to a locked chest beneath the floorboards. Inside, his old gear. Folded tactical vests, suppressed weapons, encrypted comms, and a dossier he's kept for years, just in case. In Marlowe City, the wolves are circling, convinced they're hunting prey. But they've just poked a sleeping lion. And lions don't run. They plan. They hunt. They eliminate. Dante Sarto moves through his cabin with precise, practiced efficiency. He doesn't panic. He doesn't rush. Every step is part of a sequence burned into his muscle memory. His hands sweep over the contents of the tactical chest. He checks the seals on his suppressed sidearms, inspects the fibers on his armored gloves, and tests the balance of his custom combat knife. Every piece of equipment is maintained like it was yesterday, not a decade ago. He was never really retired, just waiting. He plugs an old encrypted satellite phone into a portable power cell. Only 3 people in the world know this number. One of them just called. The other 2? He's about to find out if they're still breathing. Elena's text arrives. Vico Brunetti. Luca Ferra. Silvio D'Angelo. Gallo Syndicate. Dante's eyes narrow. Gallo, the syndicate that had flourished in his absence, filling the power vacuum he left behind. He thought they were just another street-level operation. But the names Elena sent? These men aren't errand boys. They're mid-tier commanders, dangerous, connected, and trained. Which means the Mafia is taking this seriously. Good. He taps into an old intel circuit, bouncing off ghost servers he buried years ago. Within minutes, his screen lights up with building schematics, known safe houses, and convoy patterns. The Gallo Syndicate is disciplined, but predictable. Their weakness? Complacency. Dante pulls out a folded map of Marlowe City, its streets marked in faded ink. He starts penciling new routes. He knows the syndicate's timing, when the guards shift, when the couriers move, when their eyes look one way but never the other. They think they're the only predators left. They don't see him coming. Step 1. Control the surveillance. He dials another number. It rings 6 times before a gruff voice answers. Didn't think I'd hear from you again, old man. Jax, I need eyes on the Gallo network. Hack their street cams, phones, anything you can get. There's a low whistle on the other end. You're poking that bear again? I thought you were dead. I am, Dante replies flatly. But they forgot to bury me deep enough. Jax laughs. I'll be in touch. Step 2. Reclaim local assets. Dante loads his gear into a beat-up Land Cruiser and drives toward the city outskirts. The roads have changed, but the underworld's muscle memory hasn't. He stops by a mechanic's shop, more precisely, an old friend's workshop hidden behind it. Miguel Ruiz, ex-cartel wheelman turned ghost driver. Dante saved his life once in Juarez. Miguel's eyes widen when he sees him. Dante, you look like hell. I need a vehicle. Discreet. Fast. Armored if you've got it. Miguel grins. For you? I've been saving something. He rolls up the garage door, revealing a matte black sedan with reinforced panels and bulletproof glass. No flashy mods. Just tactical perfection. Payment? Miguel asks. You'll have my back when it counts. Miguel nods without hesitation. Always. Step 3. Establish local support. Dante visits 2 more contacts, each strategically placed. A street informant who monitors syndicate movements and a former combat medic who quietly patches up people who can't go to hospitals. Every piece moves carefully onto the board. The city doesn't know it yet, but the game has begun. And Dante? He's already 6 moves ahead. Night settles over Marlowe City like a velvet noose. The streets glimmer with rain-slicked reflections, but under the neon pulse, Dante Sarto moves like a shadow, deliberate, silent, invisible. His first priority, sever the syndicate's communications. Gallo's strength lies in coordination, fast responses, tight control, and the illusion of omnipresence. But all of that depends on their ability to talk. Dante's sedan pulls into a narrow alley, a few blocks from one of Gallo's primary relay hubs, a converted warehouse disguised as an auto parts distributor. From the outside, it's nothing. On the inside, it's a nerve center. Encrypted radios, signal boosters, satellite uplinks. Weak point identified. He checks his sidearm and slides a suppressed SMG across the seat. His phone buzzes. Jax. Dante, I'm inside their feeds. I can lock their doors remotely for about 30 seconds. That's your window. Dante's voice is calm. That's all I need. Jax pauses, his tone shifting from cocky to concerned. You sure you want to wake this beast? Gallo's not the type to forgive. Dante's reply is cold. I'm not here for forgiveness. Jax sighs. You've got 30 seconds on my mark. Go loud if you have to. Dante slides out of the car, his movements economical, purposeful. He scopes the perimeter. 2 sentries posted, both facing out. No one expects an attack from this angle. He draws a compact knife, approaches the first guard from the blind spot, and dispatches him swiftly. One silent move, artery severed. The second guard doesn't notice until it's too late. Quiet entry secured. Jax's voice cuts through the earpiece. Doors locking now. Go. Dante breaches. Inside, the operators scramble, caught in the lockdown. Dante moves like a storm. Controlled bursts from his suppressed SMG, each shot deliberate. No wasted rounds. No collateral. 3 men down. 2 others surrender before their hands even find their weapons. He plants thermite charges on the signal servers. 1 technician stammers. Who? Who the hell are you? Dante meets his eyes, cold and unblinking. I'm the name you buried. He detonates the charges, engulfing the relay hub in a roar of molten steel. Communications blackout. Gallo's street-level units lose their coordination in seconds. Dante moves out as the fire alarm blares behind him, seamlessly blending into the wet streets. The local units will scramble now, blind and isolated. Phase 1, complete. Next objective, destabilize their supply routes. Jax patches in again. You're not going to believe this. I just intercepted panic chatter. You hit them harder than you think. They'll adapt, Dante says, sliding into his car. They always do. I need locations on their ammo drops and transport nodes. Jax hesitates. This is starting to feel surgical. You're building toward something. Dante's voice is razor sharp. I'm building toward the part where they realize they made a mistake. As Dante speeds toward his next target, his mind plays the scenario forward. Gallo will tighten their grip. They'll send more men. They'll come after Elena harder. Good. Let them. Because Dante isn't here to survive this war. He's here to end it. Piece by piece. The Gallo Syndicate reels from the blackout. Street-level units scramble for direction. Convoys halt mid-route, unsure if they're walking into traps. Leaders bark orders, but without comms, their reach collapses inward. It's not just an attack, it's surgical sabotage, and they have no idea who's pulling the strings. Vico Brunetti, the enforcer who first threatened Elena, slams his fist on the table inside a high-rise suite now converted into a Gallo safe house. His phone won't connect to the other cells. His men, scattered across the city, have gone dark. This isn't random. Vico growls to Luca Ferra, his second. This is someone who knows how we move. Luca exhales slowly, processing. It's a ghost protocol. Someone's systematically cutting us off. And that name she dropped. Don't. Vico snaps, his voice tight with something he rarely feels, fear. That name's supposed to be dead. But what if it isn't? Luca presses. Vico's jaw clenches. Then we kill it. Again. Across the city, Dante Sarto prepares for his next strike. Phase 2. Disrupt their supply chain. He's parked near Dock 17, an unregistered shipping yard that the Gallo Syndicate uses to funnel weapons and untraceable cash through private containers. These supplies keep their street operations alive. Jax's voice crackles through the earpiece. Cargo manifests confirm tonight's drop. They're moving crates in the next 20 minutes. I've got backdoor access to the yard security cams. Your window is tight. Any backup routes? Dante asks as he screws a suppressor onto his carbine. Negative. This is their only southern pipeline. You hit this, you choke their streets. Perfect. Dante moves low through the stacked containers, counting patrol routes, watching timing gaps. He positions himself near the loading cranes, using the rain to mask his steps. 5 armed men guard the crates. Dante doesn't rush. He waits until 2 guards step away to light cigarettes. Pattern observed, exploited. He deploys a remote noise emitter behind the far containers. Bait. 2 guards break formation to investigate. 3 left. Dante moves fast. 2 clean headshots in under 3 seconds. The last guard barely turns before Dante's knife finds his throat. The remaining men, separated, hear nothing. He plants C4 charges on the crates, wiring them with a remote detonator. As he retreats, a low rumble signals incoming trucks, reinforcements moving to secure the shipment. Dante smirks, flipping the detonator's safety cap. They won't be securing anything. He presses the trigger. A chain of explosions rips through Dock 17, fire and debris scattering across the yard. Cargo trucks flip like toys. Syndicate foot soldiers dive for cover, but it's too late. Their southern supply line is gone. Jax's voice returns, a mix of awe and disbelief. That was aggressive. Dante's voice is cold, clinical. I want them desperate. I want them erratic. That's when they make mistakes. Vico's panic spreads as reports come in. His men are dead. His shipments are ash. His comms are compromised. He slams the table again. I want her. The blind woman. Now. They don't realize that she's not the target. She's the bait. And Dante? He's already waiting for them to take it. The Gallo Syndicate moves quickly. Vico Brunetti orders a full sweep of Delaney Street. Dozens of men in black vans descend on the district. Their orders simple. Find Elena Sarto, grab her, and burn the shop to the ground if necessary. Vico doesn't want to spook her into hiding. He wants to drag her into the open, force her to talk, and use her as leverage. He thinks he's playing offense. but he's already walking into Dante's net. Phase 3. Force the syndicate into predictable movements. Dante had anticipated their retaliation down to the street. Through his city contacts, he spread rumors, carefully leaked that Elena would be alone at her shop tonight, without protection, waiting for an unknown buyer to retrieve the ledger. Jax monitors the Gallo comms. You've got 2 vans inbound. ETA 6 minutes. They've cut street cams in the area, probably thinking it'll cover their tracks. Let them come, Dante replies, already positioning his gear inside an abandoned building across from the bookstore. He's not alone. Miguel Ruiz sits nearby, monitoring the rear exits. His job, cut off retreat. No engines will leave Delaney Street tonight. Across the block, a third ally waits. Tessa Kwan, a former military combat medic turned field tactician. Dante called in the favor, and she came without question. Tessa's watching from a rooftop with a scoped rifle, ready to cover Elena's shop. Dante's calm, but meticulous. He places remote-triggered charges under parked vehicles, aligns his escape routes, and primes smoke grenades at key intersections. Everything is staged. Everything has layers. Phase 4. Force engagement on his terms. The Gallo vans arrive, their engines cutting as doors slam open. 10 men spread out, moving toward Elena's shop like wolves circling a lone deer. But this deer has fangs. Elena sits behind the counter, calm, hands resting lightly on the ledger's leather binding. She's not blind to what's coming. Dante briefed her on every step. The lead enforcer shouts through the glass door. Come quietly, lady. No one has to get hurt. Her reply is soft, but surgical. You're already hurt. You just don't feel it yet. A second later, a silent indicator in her pocket vibrates. Go. Tessa fires first, clean, precise. One man drops instantly. Confusion erupts. Dante's remote charges detonate, flipping one of the parked vans onto its side, blocking the retreat route. Smoke bombs flood the intersection, turning the street into a ghostly maze. Inside the chaos, Dante moves like a scalpel, silent, efficient, eliminating 2 men in the smoke with controlled headshots. Miguel cuts off the second van, forcing the remaining syndicate soldiers to bunker down inside the shop. Elena, calm under pressure, edges toward the back exit where Dante's waiting. He guides her out, hand lightly on her shoulder. Timing's perfect, she says as if commenting on the weather. Would have preferred 90 seconds faster, Dante mutters, leading her through a pre-planned corridor of cover. Tessa covers their movement from above, dropping another enforcer attempting to flank. One of the syndicate men shouts desperately into his comms. We're trapped. Send backup now. But backup won't come. Jax's voice crackles through Dante's earpiece. Just jam their signals again. They're on an island. Perfect. Dante locks eyes with Elena. You good? She nods. They underestimated the blind woman. Happens a lot. He almost smirks. Almost. Together, they melt into the smoke as Dante's final charge detonates, collapsing part of the shop's entrance and sealing the ambush. The Gallo soldiers inside realize the horrifying truth. They weren't hunting. They were baited. And the real hunt has only just begun. The syndicate soldiers trapped in the smoldering remains of Elena's bookstore are swiftly extracted by Gallo recovery teams, but the damage is done. They lost men, vehicles, and, most importantly, face. Back at Gallo's fortified estate, Vico Brunetti paces like a cornered animal. The attack wasn't random. It wasn't sloppy. It was a chess move, and it humiliated him. He slams his fist against the conference table, making the other lieutenants flinch. It's him, he growls. It has to be him. Luca Ferra, now pale with realization, whispers what no one dares to say out loud. Dante Sarto. Vico snarls. Ghosts don't pull triggers. He's dead. But doubt creeps into his tone. To restore control, Vico orders an immediate escalation, a full-spectrum city lockdown. Syndicate patrols double. Roadblocks materialize overnight. Bribes by new surveillance access. Civilians connected to Dante's past quietly vanish. They'll flood the streets to flush him out. But they don't realize Dante thrives under pressure. He was trained for asymmetric warfare, for fighting while surrounded, for dismantling networks from the inside out. This isn't panic for him. This is precision. Phase 5. Collapse their leadership structure. Dante regroups with Miguel, Tessa, and Jax in a secure underground garage, one of Miguel's old smuggler's tunnels long forgotten by the city. Tessa lays out a detailed map of the Gallo network. They've locked down the northern sector. Movement's going to be tighter now. That's fine, Dante says, brushing dust from the edges of the table. We'll make them pay for every corner they hold. Jax updates them, his fingers flying across his laptop. I found something. Luca Ferra's got a private convoy running tomorrow morning. Money drop. Unmarked cars, small detail. Miguel leans forward. Isolated. Yeah, they've gotten paranoid. Less guards, faster routes. Dante's eyes sharpen. They think smaller is safer. It's not. The plan comes together in seconds. Jax will reroute traffic signals along the convoy's escape routes, boxing them into a kill zone. Tessa will block the northern alley with a disabled truck, forcing the convoy to divert into a tight underpass. Miguel will handle vehicle control, deploying remote tire spikes to halt the lead car. Dante will handle the extraction. Every element, timed. Every variable, controlled. They move at dawn. The convoy departs exactly as Jax predicted. 3 cars. 2 bodyguards with Luca. Traffic lights fail, steering them straight into Dante's trap. Tessa's rigged truck forces them into the underpass. Miguel's tire spikes drop the lead vehicle instantly. Confusion erupts. Dante strikes with surgical speed, breaching the back vehicle, neutralizing 2 guards before they clear their holsters. His suppressed rounds crack with brutal finality. Luca Ferra, pinned in the middle car, panics. He fumbles for his radio, dead signal, jammed by Jax. Dante tears open the passenger door, yanking Luca out by his collar. You wanted answers, Dante hisses, pressing his suppressed pistol against Luca's temple. Here I am. Luca's voice trembles. You're supposed to be dead. Dante's eyes are ice. You should have left her alone. With a swift blow to the back of the neck, he knocks Luca unconscious and hauls him into Miguel's waiting car. They vanish into the city before Gallo's quick response teams can assemble. Next phase, dismantle the chain of command, 1 lieutenant at a time. Back in the safe house, Dante interrogates Luca with methodical, brutal efficiency. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to threaten. He just needs to ask the right questions and press the right nerves. Within hours, Luca breaks. He gives Dante the next target, the logistics mastermind who keeps Gallo's entire smuggling operation afloat. Dante doesn't react. He simply reloads his gear. You were just the first cut, Dante says coldly as he leaves Luca bound in the chair. The next will bleed deeper. The message is spreading. The ghost is real, and he's hunting. Word spreads like wildfire through Marlowe's underworld. Luca Ferra is missing. His convoy never made it back. And the whispers grow louder. Dante Sarto is alive. Vico Brunetti denies it, ordering his men to crush the rumor with violence. But in the back of his mind, the pressure mounts. He knows the pattern. Surgical strikes. Communications collapse. Psychological warfare. It's not just revenge, it's a dismantling, 1 step at a time. Vico calls for outside support. Mercenaries, guns for hire, ex-military security teams with no ties to the local syndicate. If Gallo's soldiers are too shaken to hold the line, he'll buy men who won't flinch. But even they don't understand who they're facing. Phase 6, eliminate logistics. Cripple their supply backbone. Luca Ferra's confession gives Dante the next piece of the puzzle, Franco De Luca. Franco isn't a fighter. He's a mover. The man behind Gallo's entire smuggling infrastructure. Without him, the syndicate's supply lines freeze. Franco's weakness? Routine. Every Tuesday at 9 a.m., he makes a quiet, unguarded trip to an old print shop, one of Gallo's shell businesses, where he updates shipping manifests personally. Dante prepares the strike. Jax hacks the building's power grid, setting up a controlled blackout. Tessa maps the fastest breach route. Miguel positions a clean vehicle for the extraction. Dante plans the hit with tactical precision. At 8:55 a.m., Franco's car arrives. 2 drivers, no external security detail. They think the location is untouchable. 5 minutes later, the power cuts. The building's security doors fail. Dante enters, silent as death. Inside, Franco panics, trying to call out, but his phone's already been jammed. Dante moves quickly, neutralizing 1 guard with a suppressed double tap. The second barely raises his weapon before Dante drives him into the wall with a brutal takedown. Franco cowers behind a desk, sweat pouring down his face. I can pay you. Name it. Dante's voice is ice. I'm not here for payment. I'm here for subtraction. Franco stammers. Please. I just move numbers. I don't kill people. I just. You move weapons. Dante interrupts, stepping closer. You move bodies. You move poison. Franco's breathing is ragged. Vico will kill me if I talk. Vico can't reach you if you disappear. Franco's eyes flicker. Hope. Fear. A chance. Dante kneels down to his level. I don't want your money. I want your routes. Your ships. Your caches. Every port. Every lock code. You give me that, and you live. Franco cracks. The man isn't built for pressure. He spills everything. Warehouse locations, smuggling tunnels, off-the-books transport crews. Dante records it all. When Franco's finished, Dante drops a burner phone in his lap. There's a new life waiting for you in Valencia. Tickets, ID, cash. But if you ever come back, I'll know. Franco nods desperately, clinging to the hope like a drowning man. Dante leaves him alive. The war isn't about bodies. It's about erasure. Remove the nodes. Collapse the system. Let it rot from the inside. Jax uses Franco's intel to remotely lock Gallo's shipping manifests, reroute cash flow, and trigger financial red flags that freeze key accounts. In less than 48 hours, half of Gallo's supply lines grind to a halt. Money starts evaporating. Their soldiers grow restless. Vico orders desperate retaliations, grabbing Elena's friends, torching suspected safe houses, but none of it slows Dante's advance. The pressure fractures the syndicate's leadership. Some begin to question Vico's control. Some wonder if following him means signing their own death warrants. Vico realizes he has to draw Dante out. New order. Burn everything connected to Elena Sarto. Force the ghost to expose himself. The trap is set. But Vico doesn't realize. Dante is already watching from the other side of it. The Gallo Syndicate's desperation boils over. Vico Brunetti orders scorched earth tactics. Anyone remotely connected to Elena Sarto becomes a target. Friends, former colleagues, even distant acquaintances, no one is safe. The city trembles under the weight of it. Gallo soldiers start firebombing businesses. Black vans tear through neighborhoods. Vico thinks he's forcing Dante into a corner. But Dante isn't reacting. He's anticipating. Jax tracks the sudden escalation. They're panicking Dante. They've got no strategy. They're just swinging. That's when they're most dangerous, Dante replies, methodically cleaning his sidearm. Cornered animals don't think. They bite. They grabbed Elena's old friend, Jax adds. Marco. She used to help him run charity drops. They're holding him in a warehouse on Hollow Creek. Dante's eyes narrow. Location confirmed. Yeah, but it's a trap. Of course it is. They want Dante to charge in, guns blazing. They want him angry. Instead, Dante sharpens the blade. Phase 7. Turn their trap into a coffin. He maps the warehouse, a 2-story freight hub, minimal upper windows, reinforced lower entrances, poor lateral escape routes. Perfect. He briefs Miguel and Tessa. We go in silent. They'll expect us to breach the front. We'll cut power, isolate squads, and use their own staging lanes as kill funnels. We don't need to wipe them all out. We need to break their morale. Miguel smirks. I like when you say things like that. Tessa adjusts her rifle sling. I'll cover the west flank. If they try to pin you, I'll collapse their position. Copy that. Dante nods. Nightfall. Jax cuts the power remotely as Dante and Miguel move in undercover of darkness. The warehouse goes pitch black, save for the emergency lights that flicker weakly over crates and loading platforms. Inside, Gallo's men scramble to reposition, their radios jamming under Jax's interference. Miguel silently disables the exterior guards with tranquilizer darts. Quiet, clean, effective. Dante enters through a side cargo lift shaft he rigged open earlier in the day. Control the vertical. On the momentum, he plants remote mines on the primary stairwell, forcing the syndicate soldiers to split. As Dante moves through the shadows, he hears their panic rising. Where's the backup? We can't get comms. Why can't we get comms? When 2 guards finally spot him, Dante eliminates them in a heartbeat. One suppressed shot to the throat, the other a swift knife to the ribs. The rest start falling back toward Marco, tightening their perimeter. Exactly as Dante wants. Tessa picks them off from the west, her suppressed rifle echoing softly in the cavernous space. Miguel jams one of their transport trucks into a staging lane, creating a wall that cuts off their southern retreat. Dante detonates the mines, collapsing the stairwell and boxing them in. Where the hell is he? A panicked enforcer shouts. Dante answers with cold precision, his voice cutting through the silence as he steps into view. I'm the shadow you lit the fire for. The last handful of soldiers drop their weapons and flee, breaking under the weight of the ambush. Dante frees Marco and hands him a burner phone. Contact Miguel tomorrow. He'll get you out of the city. Marco, still shaking, asks, "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Dante's reply is low, measured. "I know Elena. That's enough." As they exfiltrate, Jax patches in. "You're officially a ghost story now." Gallo's men are terrified. Some are already walking off the job. "Good," Dante mutters. "When the tree's rotten, you don't cut the branches. You pull the roots." Vico, seething, knows his trap failed. But now he's thinking bigger, more dangerous. If picking off Elena's friends won't draw Dante out, maybe there's something else. Something closer. Someone tied to Dante's past. Someone he can't ignore. Vico Brunetti's frustration turns to obsession. The more he tightens his grip on the city, the more it slips through his fingers. Dante Sarto isn't just attacking. He's dismantling Gallo's foundation. Step by step, the syndicate is bleeding leadership, resources, and morale. Vico realizes this isn't just a vendetta. It's a tactical eradication. You want to kill a ghost? Vico snarls to his remaining lieutenants. You find what he still breathes for. His men dig through intelligence, old CIA declassified scraps, street rumors. Weeks of searching finally lead them to a soft thread, a woman named Claire Ross, Dante's former field partner. She was listed as presumed dead after an operation in Montenegro, but new sources confirm she's alive, under deep cover, living quietly as a language professor in Marlowe's university district. Claire was more than a partner. She was the one person Dante trusted to watch his blind spots. Vico seizes the opportunity. He orders a rapid snatch and grab, deploying one of his last elite units. Mercenaries flown in, disciplined, well-armed, with no hesitation. This won't be a sloppy street kidnapping. This is precision. They track Claire's routine. The attack happens fast, surgical. A black SUV screeches to a halt outside the university library. 3 men move in, weapons drawn. Claire, still sharp after years off the field, drops one of them with a broken wrist lock, but the numbers overwhelm her. They drag her into the vehicle and vanish. The message is immediate. Claire's phone is dumped outside Dante's safe house with a simple note taped to it. Come find her. Alone. Jax's voice on the comms is tight, worried. They know who she is, Dante. They're not bluffing. They want me isolated, Dante replies, calmly loading a fresh magazine into his pistol. Exactly, Jax says. That's why I'm going with you. No, Dante says flatly. You stay with Elena. You keep the safe routes open. Miguel cuts in. I've got your vehicle staged. If you're going with backup. Dante's jaw clenches. He doesn't want Claire's life to become collateral in a wider war. He knows Vico expects him to walk into a kill box. But this isn't about playing Vico's game. It's about flipping the board. Phase 8, rescue the ally. Break the syndicate's elite. Dante drives toward the abandoned distillery where Vico's men are holding Claire. It's the perfect kill zone. Tight corridors, limited entry points, high ground heavily guarded. Perfect if your enemy is predictable. Dante has no intention of storming the front. Instead, he slips through the distillery's forgotten sewer access, mapped years ago when he ran counter-operations in the district. Jax feeds him thermal scans from a drone overhead. 3 outside, 2 on the north watchtower, 4 inside with Claire. Rear service tunnel is clear. Miguel's voice crackles through. I'll jam their comms when you're close. Make them think you're coming from the main gate. Do it, Dante says. He moves silently through the underground, climbing the rusted maintenance ladder into the distillery's lower storage wing. Above, Vico's mercs scramble toward the front, expecting an assault. They won't see him coming until it's too late. And when he's done, Vico will understand the mistake he's made. Dante moves like water through the lower storage wing, calm, quiet, but unstoppable. Every step is measured, every breath controlled. The old distillery is a labyrinth of rusted catwalks, decaying pipes, and forgotten bottling machines. To the syndicate mercs, it's a fortress. To Dante, it's a hunting ground. Jax's voice threads through his earpiece. Their eyes are pinned to the front gate. You've got about 90 seconds before they realize you're not coming that way. More than enough, Dante replies, unslinging his suppressed SMG. Claire's location is confirmed, an upper-level processing room, guarded by 4 men. They've zip-tied her to a chair, but she's still sharp. Through the grainy security feeds, Jax sees it. She's subtly adjusting the chair's balance, shifting her weight. She's preparing to fight, even tied down. She's still got fight in her, Jax says. She always does. Dante moves up the side stairwell, avoiding creaky steps. He neutralizes the first sentry with a swift, silent takedown. One arm around the neck, cutting air, then lowering the body gently to the floor. The second guard turns the corner just in time to catch a suppressed shot to the chest. No alarms. No shouts. Only silence. Jax's comm updates. 2 more on the upper balcony. They're about to loop your path. Send them a distraction. A second later, Miguel detonates a flash charge at the main entrance. Loud, sudden, disorienting. The mercs pivot instantly toward the front, guns drawn, shouting into their useless comms. The path clears. Dante pushes forward, closing in on the processing room. His heartbeat remains steady. For him, this isn't chaos. It's choreography. The 2 remaining guards with Claire hear footsteps too late. Dante breaches with precision. One shot drops the first guard, a clean triple tap to center mass. The second reaches for Claire, likely thinking to use her as a human shield, but Dante is already in motion. He moves low, fast, closing the gap with brutal efficiency, and drives his combat knife into the man's ribs, silencing him before the merc can even call for help. The room falls silent except for Claire's steady breathing. She looks up at him, a faint smirk tugging at the corner of her mouth. Took you long enough. You look good for dead, he says, cutting her restraints. She stretches her wrists, the muscle memory of old missions returning instantly. What's the play? Exit's hot, Dante says, handing her a sidearm. But Miguel has our back. Jax is running interference. We move fast, clean, tactical. Claire chambers around. Just like Montenegro. Just like Montenegro. They slip out through the maintenance corridors, Miguel intercepting them with the getaway vehicle seconds before the remaining mercs regroup. As they disappear into the streets, Vico's furious voice finally blares over open radio channels. Find him. I want him and the woman dead. Dante's cold response cuts back through the comms. Untraceable, but perfectly clear. You don't send wolves to kill lions. The war has shifted. Dante now has his partner back. And Vico? He's running out of moves. Back in their safe house, a fortified, nondescript building tucked beneath Marlowe City's industrial district, the team regroups. The air is thick with tension, but fueled by purpose. Dante, Claire, Miguel, Tessa, and Jax gather around a digital map littered with flashing points and routes. Claire breaks the silence first, her voice steady but urgent. Vico's mercenaries are skilled professionals, but they're reacting, not planning. They're desperate. That means their next move will be reckless and costly. Dante nods, eyes scanning the data Jax has pulled up. His supply lines are crippled, but his finances are still intact. He can still buy weapons, mercs, and influence. We need to cut that off. Jax leans forward, fingers flying over his keyboard. I traced a major financial transaction scheduled in 48 hours. Over $10 million, cash, no paper trail, being physically transferred at the Sovereign Hotel downtown. The couriers are military-grade, backed by private security contractors. Miguel grins grimly. That's the lifeline. Take that away, and the whole operation collapses. Tessa, ever precise, adjusts her rifle sling. Expect heavy security. They won't just hand over 10 million without a fight. Dante's lips curl into a faint, grim smile. Perfect. I like a challenge. Phase 9. Strike at the financial heart. The plan is surgical and multi-layered. Each member has a critical role. Jax will hack into the hotel surveillance system, creating blind spots and disabling cameras along the convoy's path. Miguel will rig the building's emergency power to flicker, sowing confusion among the guards. Tessa takes the roof, sniper rifle ready, prepared to suppress any reinforcements. Claire coordinates medical aid and organizes exfiltration routes. Dante leads the ground assault, moving with tactical precision. At midnight, The convoy arrives in the hotel's underground garage. Guards stand alert, but unaware of the storm about to descend. Jax cuts the security feeds just as the lights flicker and fail, plunging the garage into a chaotic dance of shadows. The guards hesitate, a critical moment that Dante exploits mercilessly. Within seconds, 2 guards fall silently under suppressed fire. An alarm blares, shattering the silence. Gunfire erupts, sharp, controlled, deadly. Dante breaches the armored courier's vehicle, neutralizing the driver with ruthless efficiency and seizing the transfer case. Tessa, from her vantage point, dispatches reinforcements with precise, suppressive shots. Miguel jams getaway vehicles, turning the environment into a tactical maze. Claire tends to the team's wounded without losing focus, a calm pillar amid the chaos. The team extracts under heavy fire, moving with the smooth efficiency of a well-oiled machine. No casualties. The transfer, secured. Vico's empire trembles. No cash means no reinforcements, no weapons, no power. Dante stands over the seized case, voice low and resolute. This war isn't over, but they're running out of options. Claire smirks. And you still look like hell. Dante's smirk is wry. Some habits die hard. With their financial lifelines severed, the Gallo Syndicate is cornered but far from defeated. Vico Brunetti's frustration morphs into ruthless determination. Desperate to reclaim control, he orders a city-wide crackdown, an all-out blitz to flush Dante and his allies from the shadows. His message is brutal and clear. No one connected to Dante, Elena, or Claire is safe. Phase 10, the Syndicate's retaliation. At dawn, black SUVs flood Delaney Street. Syndicate enforcers fan out, executing sweeping raids on suspected safe houses and informants. Innocent neighbors disappear in the night, community safe zones shatter, and fear blankets the city like smoke. Vico's enforcers intensify pressure with a psychological weapon. Public threats and messages broadcast across the underground networks, naming Elena, Claire, and Dante, daring them to show themselves. The streets tremble under the weight of violence, but Dante and his team remain ghosts. They don't fight blindly. They prepare. Inside their fortified safe house, the team moves swiftly. Jax expands their digital defenses, erecting firewalls and counter-surveillance measures. Miguel and Tessa coordinate patrols and set up tactical traps around their perimeter. Dante studies the growing syndicate movements on the digital map. They're overextending. They think brute force will break us. Claire adds, but every time they push, they leave something vulnerable. We just have to be patient. The team strikes back with surgical precision, hit-and-run operations targeting supply caches, weapon depots, and corrupt officers aiding Gallo's grip. Each strike is a message. Dante's network is stronger, smarter, and ready to bleed them dry. A turning point arrives one stormy night. The Syndicate launches a surprise attack on the safe house. Explosions rip through the outer walls. Gunfire echoes like thunder. Dante's team moves as one. Tessa lays down covering fire from the rooftop. Miguel maneuvers to flank the attackers. Claire manages casualties with steady hands. Dante coordinates their defense with calm authority, his voice cutting through the chaos. Hold your positions. Focus fire on the breach. Keep moving. The attackers falter under the fierce resistance. Within minutes, they're forced to retreat, leaving behind bodies and shattered morale. Vico watches the failed assault with growing fury. His enemies are not just surviving, they're thriving. He knows this war will end only when one side is completely erased. Dante looks out over the city skyline from the safe house roof. The rain slicks the streets below. The city is a chessboard, and every piece counts. He turns to Claire, his expression grave. They're desperate. Next moves will be reckless. We have to be ready. Claire nods, loading her weapon. This is just the beginning. The battle for Marlowe City intensifies. But Dante Sarto is no ghost. He is the reckoning. The failed assault on the safe house rattles the Gallo Syndicate, but also hardens their resolve. Vico Brunetti understands brute force won't topple Dante. It's time for a new strategy, infiltration. Phase 11, infiltrate and destabilize. Vico recruits a specialist, Marco the Chameleon Greco, a master of disguise, social engineering, and sabotage. His task, penetrate Dante's inner circle, sow discord, and gather intelligence. Marco begins by shadowing local contacts, learning routines, and planting false information to build credibility. His first move is subtle. Approach Elena's bookstore under the guise of a helpful patron. Elena, ever vigilant, senses something off. She confronts him with a mix of politeness and sharp instinct. "I don't deal with strangers lightly," she warns. Marco smiles, charming. Sometimes strangers bring gifts. But Elena's trust is earned, not given. She reports the encounter to Dante, who immediately orders increased vetting and tighter security protocols. Meanwhile, Marco attempts to compromise the team's digital network by introducing malware through a trusted insider, an unwilling courier coerced into delivering a tainted flash drive. Jax detects unusual network activity just in time and quarantines the breach, neutralizing the threat before any data leaks. Tessa and Miguel double down on physical security, running drills to prepare for potential betrayals from within. Dante gathers the team. "This war is evolving. We're no longer just fighting men in black vans. We're fighting shadows in our own ranks." Claire adds, "We'll need to trust each other more than ever." Marco grows bolder, pushing boundaries and testing loyalties. But the team's cohesion proves stronger than Vico anticipated. Every move Marco makes is met with countermeasures, forcing him to improvise and make riskier plays. In a tense standoff inside an abandoned warehouse, Marco is finally unmasked during an attempted sabotage. A silent struggle ends with Dante disarming and restraining him. Marco smirks, unfazed. "You think killing me ends this? I'm just the beginning." Dante coldly replies, "You're the lesson." The team extracts valuable intel from Marco's capture, revealing deeper layers of the Syndicate's operations and plans for a citywide offensive. Dante and his allies prepare to strike preemptively. Trust is their strongest weapon, and betrayal their greatest threat. Armed with Marco's detailed intel, Dante and his team prepare for their most ambitious assault yet, a surgical strike designed to cripple the Gallo Syndicate's backbone before their looming citywide offensive can begin. The target is clear, the Syndicate's main armory and communications hub, a sprawling, fortified compound buried deep within Marlowe's industrial district. This compound is the nerve center for Vico Brunetti's operations, the place where weapons are stockpiled, communications are coordinated, and orders flow down the chain of command. Every detail matters. Jax works feverishly, hacking into the compound's security network. He blinds surveillance cameras, disrupts alarm systems, and maps out every guard rotation and patrol pattern with military precision. Miguel and Tessa prepare their gear with a practiced efficiency. Miguel loads remote detonated explosives, and Tessa fine-tunes her long-range sniper rifle, ready to isolate the compound and seal off escape routes. Claire assembles medical kits and plots extraction routes for their exit. Dante stands over the digital map, running through every possible variable. We hit fast, hit hard, no room for mistakes. Phase 12, Surgical Demolition. Under the cover of darkness, the team moves like shadows toward the compound's perimeter. Jax's hacking blinds the cameras and jams radio frequencies, effectively cutting off external communications. Miguel and Tessa silently eliminate the perimeter guards with suppressed weapons and swift close-quarters tactics. Their movements are coordinated, lethal, and nearly invisible. Dante breaches the communications tower, planting explosives on critical arrays. Claire secures the armory's entrance, preparing to lock down any attempt to move weapons. Seconds later, a series of controlled detonations rip through the compound, severing communications and destroying caches of weapons and ammunition. Inside, Syndicate fighters scramble in confusion, their ability to coordinate crippled. Dante's team picks them off methodically, using the chaos to their advantage and forcing a disorganized retreat. The strike sends a devastating message. Gallo's grip on the city is weakening. Vico Brunetti's empire starts to fracture as his men lose their weapons, their coordination, and their morale. But the victory carries a heavy cost. In retaliation, the Syndicate lashes out unpredictably, targeting civilian neighborhoods and anyone suspected of aiding Dante's resistance. The city's streets become battlegrounds, and innocent lives hang in the balance. As dawn breaks over Marlowe, Dante surveys the smoldering remnants of the compound from a distant rooftop. The air is thick with smoke and tension. He turns to Claire, voice low but steady. "They're breaking, but we're not done yet." Claire's eyes harden with resolve. Neither are they. The battle for Marlowe City has reached a dangerous new phase, one where every move could tip the scales toward salvation or destruction. The city's tension tightens like a drawn wire. Vico Brunetti's empire is crumbling, but he refuses to accept defeat. His resources are stretched thin, his men fractured, yet his resolve grows sharper. Desperation fuels strategy. This is his last move, a ruthless counteroffensive aimed at breaking Dante's resistance once and for all. Phase 13, the counteroffensive. Vico unleashes a coordinated assault designed to isolate Dante and crush his network's lifelines. His mercenaries and loyalists fan out across the city, targeting safe houses, supply routes, and community support hubs. The goal: sever the ties that bind Dante to the city and its people. Inside the safe house, the team watches the city map pulse with hostile activity. Locations where allies once gathered flicker red as enemy forces converge. Vico's strategy is clear: force Dante's network into retreat, then hunt them down individually. Dante studies the map, calm but focused. They want to choke us out. We'll let them think they're winning, while we prepare the trap. Claire loads her weapon, eyes steely. Every move they make will cost them blood. Jax floods enemy channels with false intel, scrambling communications and forcing confusion in their ranks. Miguel and Tessa lay ambushes in narrow alleys and underground tunnels, turning the city into a labyrinth of deadly surprises. Across Marlowe, firefights break out in shadowed streets. Suppressed gunfire cracks, followed by muffled explosions. Dante's hit teams strike fast and vanish, taking down key lieutenants, disrupting enemy convoys, and collapsing supply points. The Syndicate's grip weakens further. Morale fractures. Some soldiers desert. Others turn on each other in desperation. Vico's confidence wavers as his carefully built empire begins to collapse from within. Dante prepares for a final showdown. The location: an abandoned warehouse deep in the industrial district, a place heavy with history and shadows. Vico arrives, flanked by a few loyal guards, his fury barely contained. "You think this ends here?" Vico snarls. "Even if I fall, others will rise. The Syndicate is eternal." Dante steps forward, voice cold and unyielding. "Ghosts don't die. They wait." The fight is brutal and precise. Every strike, every movement, is calculated. Vico fights with the desperation of a cornered predator, but Dante's skill and calm control overwhelm him. Within moments, Dante disarms Vico and forces him to his knees. "You lost because you underestimated the past," Dante says, "and the ghosts it leaves behind." With Vico subdued and his network shattered, Marlowe's shadows shift. Dante and his team know this isn't the end. It's a new beginning, one that demands constant vigilance. Because in this city, darkness never fully fades. The warehouse falls silent. Vico Brunetti's defeat echoes not just as a personal loss, but as the collapse of a reign built on fear and violence. Dante stands over him, the weight of years and battles behind his calm gaze. The city breathes around them, fragile, scarred, but still alive. With Vico in custody, the Syndicate's remnants splinter into chaos. Allies and informants rise from the shadows to rebuild, but under new leadership. Elena, Claire, Miguel, Tessa, and Jax form the core of a new network, one dedicated not to power or profit, but protection and justice. Dante watches as the city begins to shift. Neighborhoods once choked by Syndicate control slowly reclaim their streets. Community centers reopen. Safe havens emerge. But the scars run deep, reminders of the cost paid in blood and sacrifice. Dante reflects quietly in the safe house, far from the public eye. He knows peace here is temporary. The underworld never truly disappears. It only waits, watching, adapting. "Ghosts don't rest," he murmurs. Elena approaches, her voice soft but firm. "What now?" Dante's eyes meet hers. "Now, we stay vigilant. We protect what we rebuilt. And we remind the city that no darkness is impenetrable." Claire nods. "We've won a battle, not the war." Tessa checks her rifle, always ready. Miguel sharpens his knives, calm and prepared. Jax begins mapping new threats in the digital underworld. Together, they form a shield, silent, watchful, and unyielding. Marlowe City sleeps uneasily beneath a thin veil of calm. But in every quiet street and shadowed corner, the story of Dante Sarto, the ghost who returned, lives on. His legend a warning and a promise. No darkness lasts forever. No tyrant reigns unchallenged. And the past never truly dies. The war may be over, but the vigilance continues. Thank you for following this story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and share your thoughts below. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. Stay tuned for more immersive tactical stories.